Hello and welcome to episode 99 of the Coming of Cage podcast, your Nicolas Cage movie review podcast. I am one of your hosts, Derek, and your other host, Ryan, is right over there.
I am right over here. And just to be clear, this is episode 99. And yes, our next episode will be episode 100. However, that will not be our 100th Nick Cage movie.
Right.
That will not be until episode 101, unless
Yes.
something changes in our schedule and we decide to do another kind of anniversary for, whatever thing. We haven't
Well,
decided.
that
We're
would be
unclear on
episode
that.
102, though, after we've watched 100
Okay, there you
movies.
go.
So,
So yes, our numbering system is a little deceptive, but bear with us.
yeah, it's our 98th movie in our 99th episode, because on episode 51 we did a looking back at the first 50 thing. And what are we talking about today, though? What is our 98th movie?
It is a cosmic horror type of thing called Color Out of Space.
Yeah, based on an H.P. Lovecraft novel or short story. So it's Lovecraftian, supernatural horror, body horror, sci-fi
Yes.
type stuff. This one is from 2019. It is from some of the same producing companies that Nicolas Cage worked with on Mandy. So there are some stylistic similarities between the two. We covered Mandy really early on in the show, way back on episode 9,
Yeah.
September of 2022. It's been a minute.
Our one
But
and only guest episode.
that's right. Yeah, our one and only guest. Yeah.
And this movie was brought up a lot on that podcast. I had never even heard of this movie.
No, it did not perform well financially speaking. It only made $1 million at the box office worldwide on an
That's
estimated
rough.
$6 million budget. But like a lot of his movies, I think they're not marketed well. I didn't know about this either, but I knew about Mandy.
But also, how do you market this movie? Having seen it, like there's not a good way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just have to go to the sci-fi side of things and focus on the cool colors and lights and noises and kind of make it like an intense Close Encounters trailer
Yeah, maybe.
is probably how I would have approached that. But yeah, so for those who don't know, this movie is about, quote, a secluded farm is struck by a strange meteorite which has apocalyptic consequences for the family living there and possibly the world.
Yeah.
Directed by Richard Stanley, who most people probably know from The Island of Dr. Moreau. And Tommy Chong is in it.
Yeah.
Joely Richardson is in it as well, who, by the way, was in Snowden with Nicolas Cage, which we also covered. That was the Joseph Gordon-Levitt led movie that Nicolas Cage was in. Snowden. We covered that on episode 36 for those playing at home.
Yeah.
So what do we do here? Well, how for people who are joining us for Color Out of Space?
Yeah, I take notes throughout the movie in kind of a chronological order, and I usually forget about anything that happened. So Derek tries to decipher whatever I meant by that note. I usually try and help as well, but I'm only so helpful. Um, but yeah, that's how it goes. This movie is kind of a weird one because a lot of stuff, it's just kind of a thing that happens that doesn't necessarily like mean anything to the plot. It's just like a weird thing. Like a person staring at a well, and then another scene of them 10 minutes later also staring at the well, and then
There is a
another
lot
scene
of
10 minutes later staring at the well. So I didn't necessarily notate a lot of stuff that happens because it's just kind of like we don't need to rehash it three times during the podcast.
so what you're telling me is you don't know how many times Jack stares at the well.
Correct. Or anybody else
It's
staring at
disappointing.
anything.
Okay. Well, we'll make it through somehow.
We'll find a way. Okay. Okay. Right away, we get four title cards, which, if you listen to this podcast, a lot of the movies that Nick Cage does are like super indie, so they have somewhere between 3 and 200 title cards, and we try and keep track of that. This one only has four, which was
Hmm.
not a ton, and none of them are his production company.
Yeah, no Saturn, which is interesting. I was kind of surprised not to see Saturn involved with this one.
Yeah. We get some, I think they were meant to be kind of ominous, but I just thought it was kind of pretty shots of like forests, foggy forests, with a voiceover.
Hmm. Right, yeah. So the voiceover is done by Elliot Knight, who plays Ward Phillips, our what is it, hydrologist? Is that,
Hydrologist, yeah.
yeah.
Um, Tell me if you picked up on this. There's like this weird shot where I think it's showing the outside of what's that guy's name? Ezra's cat, like the little place he stays on the
Yeah.
property. But there's a swastika made of doll legs.
Oh, you saw that too. Okay. Yeah. Ray pointed that out. So I watched this one with my wife. She doesn't watch that many with me, so but she wanted to watch this one. She pointed that I didn't notice it, ironically,
Yeah,
but
I don't know if that was intended. I can't imagine you would make a swastika unintentional, like not intentionally. But
I mean, I would be surprised if it was intentional for kind of the fact that it doesn't seem to connect to the rest of the story in any way.
no, but then why do it in that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
So I think people would go, "Oh, look, a pinwheel," or
Yeah,
something
I
like
didn't
that.
see it. She saw it, but you also saw it, so it's
But it was
clearly,
also it was like literally right up front, and like the camera is on it as it's
yeah.
passing by. Like it's like a sweeping shot across the side, like showing trees and stuff, and then this. So it's not like it's a hidden shot or like way in the
No,
back.
it just seems like that would have been a very strange choice since you don't see that. There's nothing else like that in the rest of the movie.
There's pieces of things made of dolls like all around
No,
Ezra's.
so but I meant like swastika stuff. Like there's
Yeah,
no
there
like
is not any
Nazi,
Nazi, symbology or anything
right. So
throughout
it
the
just
rest
seems
of the movie.
weird that they would do just that one at the beginning on purpose and then never again.
But they focus on it, so it's a weird choice.
Yeah.
So we go to like our first character of the movie who is like casting a spell in a circle of something, wearing like a cloak. It's a woman where she has like a triangle hair piece
Hmm.
that like triangles seemed like they were going to be important to this movie, and then they weren't at all. It was like a lot of symbolism with triangles that didn't end up meaning anything, or I was too stupid to understand them, one of the two.
I probably it might have something to do with Wicca because she's Wiccan as we find out shortly. And I'm not super familiar with that, so maybe that's part of it.
Maybe, yeah, that it might be more just like a religious thing that I didn't understand for Wiccan folk. But yeah, she's casting a spell, and she mentions getting rid of cancer,
Hmm.
her mom's cancer, but that never comes up for the rest of the movie.
Well, that's not true. That her had recovered from cancer. That comes up a few times. In fact, there's one big scene
Oh, maybe I missed it
that
then.
comes up in that yeah, that Nick is a big part of.
We also get a like so she's out casting the spell, and this guy named Ward walks up, and she's very like rude to him, and he's like allegedly trespassing, and he's trying to do like a water table analysis, and he was not lost, but he was just trying to find the owners of this property or whatever so that he could do this. And she's kind of rude to him, but then he says something, acts like if it's she's Alexandrian or Wiccan or something like that about the spell
Hmm.
she was casting, and then she loosens up a little bit. But she gets on this horse, and it's revealed that she has like a pentagram on her foot,
Right.
which has
Because she's
again no, I mean it is a bunch of triangles, so maybe
well,
in that sense,
it's to confirm. So he guesses that she's Alexandrian, not Wiccan, and she says, "Oh, it's the second thing you're wrong about today," which I guess meant him being lost or on public land or something like that. He was wrong about. So when they cut to her foot, I think that was supposed to confirm for the audience she is indeed Wiccan. I think.
I mean I don't really necessarily associate pentagrams specifically with Wiccans,
I
so
agree, but
I don't know.
that yeah, that's what it felt like.
I
So,
will agree with that for sure. Um, we she goes back to the house, and we see her dad, who is Nick Cage, who's wearing glasses, which is on her bingo card.
woo.
So it's a bingo square. Um, we meet her stoner brother.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. What's his name? Benny.
yeah, they seem to have kind of a strained relationship. All the mom and dad are okay together, but then like, well, they have some strain too. Basically, everybody has some strain between them in this household.
So, okay, before we get too far, I do want to call that out because I think one of the issues with this movie is that they're all supposed to get weirder as the movie progresses, and it happens very fast, but they also start in kind of a weird place. Like there's no point in this movie where this feels like a normal family of normal people.
Right, they're like the dad is weirdly obsessed with having these alpacas and drinking alpaca milk and like and then eating alpacas and like eh, yeah, I mean there's just a lot of weird stuff going on. I mean I'm listen, I'm not going to say you're weird if you're Wiccan and you're casting spells, but in general in a
No,
movie that's not like a that's not that generally is used as a way to show somebody is off the normal beaten path.
but I'm talking more about like the way her and her brother talk to each other. Like
Yes, they don't talk to each other like a normal brother and sister at all. They're very crass to each other and rude.
very. And like the mom, the one who's had the cancer, I guess she's like a stock day trader type person. And
Yeah, they like allegedly live way out in the woods in this farm with like crap ass internet, but she's somehow a day trader.
it that's really like, so they live in this weird place. She has a very kind of unexpected job for where they live.
It's up,
He's
she's up in the attic.
Yeah, she's
So
up in the attic. Nick plays he's just odd kind of the whole time. The alpaca thing, like, I mean, do people eat alpaca normally if they're not like desperate? Is that a food that people eat?
I'm
I'm
not familiar enough with alpaca to answer that. I
okay,
mean,
yeah.
but yeah,
So
so they all sit down at this dinner basically, and they have a conversation. Like he makes some French meal that
yeah.
supposedly is his wife's favorite or something. And you
But like
know,
again, like the daughter's like, oh, it's a peasant's dish. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, are you not normal people? Like, I don't understand.
right. Are you royalty or something? But yeah, during this meal, they're talking about how like Nick brings up that they're gonna eat alpaca meat this time next year. And the daughter is like, do people eat alpacas? They're supposed to be used for like wool.
Yeah, I think he
And
was
Nick is
like,
like, I don't know.
maybe he was trying to mess with the youngest, Jack. I don't know. That like,
And then his wife tells him to go to the cellar to get a bunch of wine or get a bottle of wine, which
mhm.
doesn't, again, that like this whole cellar shot doesn't really pay off for anything later.
Oh yeah, but it's there for one reason and one reason only, and it's the end of the movie.
Right,
The only reason they have a wine cellar is so Ward survives.
right. I mean, that's the only reason this thing exists, but they like spend time setting it up. The whole thing is kind of weird. Um, so then we get like a scene with Nick and his wife. Nathan and
Hmm.
Teresa are the character names. And he's clearly like wanting to be intimate with her,
Yeah.
but she's not wanting to be intimate with him because she's feeling old and she feels like her body isn't desirable and like she's falling apart because of the cancer and just like there's a lot of things.
Well, he makes a comment about how like they haven't been together since the surgery, and then at some point we find out that that's been 6 months. I don't remember if this is the scene where we learn that or not, but so so she's not like that past it. Clearly, the cancer was serious enough to have a surgery. Um, but I mean, we don't get to learn much about what she went through, right? Like you don't see a lot of the stereotypical signs of somebody who's had like chemo, for example, or anything like that. There's no medical equipment around. It's not like she has like a medical bed or there's anything like that. So like if you didn't have the opening scene that you were talking like where we meet the daughter, we wouldn't know that she was ever sick until now.
Right. And she doesn't appear to really be sick throughout the movie other
No.
than like she's struggling with her like self-image.
Yeah.
But then there's this weird exchange about like, would you love me if my legs got chopped off? And he's like, it's kind of kinky, but yeah, I'd still love you. Or like she
Yeah.
says he says that his her legs are his favorite part. of
Yeah.
her. And she said, well, you still love me if my legs got chopped off. And he said, yeah, it'd be a little kinky, but I still would. And so and she seems like she's open to whatever's about to happen.
Yeah, it ends
Uh,
up turning into like a little cute flirt thing, even though it's really creepy. Like
I
he talks
thought it
about
was
how he'll.
foreshadowing. I thought her legs were going to get chopped off later or something.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, because he makes a comment, I'll throw you in my carry on, and we'll go traveling
Yeah,
or whatever. Because they keep going back. They want to do these big trips or whatever to Italy.
right.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm into it," or whatever she said. And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, so then we kind of separate off between the characters. You have like the mom and dad that are kind of trying to be intimate
Hmm.
in their room, and then you have the daughter who's in her room, which is overly like they really want to drive home that she's Wiccan. It has just like spells and like
She's got the
weird.
Necronomicon on her
Yeah,
bed.
she's got literally Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Book of the Dead, on her but it's just as labeled Necronomicon on the front, like she got it at a
Yeah,
bookstore.
it's definitely the
Um,
Barnes and Noble version of the
right.
Necronomicon.
But like yeah, all her posters and everything are just meant to drive home how witchy she is.
Well, because
And
like they're
then
on this cutesy little farm, but she's obviously the alt girl,
yeah.
right? Throughout the whole movie.
And then the older brother is like he's a stoner and he
Yeah.
has this like wolf dog type. It's a dog that looks basically like a wolf, but he is like really into this computer system that seems to be like tracking space things in space.
Yeah, like black hole stuff. Like there's a comment about like he's listening to NASA and smoking pot.
Yeah,
You know,
like it's kind of setting up that he's going to be really knowledgeable about things, and then that never comes into play.
never doesn't come back at all. I do
The
have a question.
only Go ahead.
No, the dog, just like do you I felt like the dog looked exactly like the one in The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing,
This movie has a lot of parallels with the thing, yeah,
right?
for
Yeah.
sure. And I actually thought the dog was going to turn into the thing type
Yes.
creature. Spoiler alert, it doesn't, but there is a thing like creature in this movie.
Hmm.
Almost identical, like
Yeah.
very, very similar. But yeah, the only thing his like computer is really good for is like getting fuzzy later and like changing colors on the screen to show that like there's interference with things. Other than that, his computer is basically useless. And
No, it doesn't
then
go anywhere.
and then there's the youngest son, who's kind of like a little skinny nerdy kid with thick glasses.
Right.
That's shown to be like kind of a mama's boy.
A little bit.
Um, but yeah, that's and he's just kind of like sleeping or trying to
Yeah.
sleep. But then while all this is happening simultaneously, there's some like super bright light, like bright purplish, pinkish, magenta light. And presumably this is the color out of space, the titular thing. Now, from what I understand in the Lovecraft novel, the color is meant to be a color that doesn't exist
Right.
in terms of like we've never seen like it would be a color that no human has ever seen before, really. So, I mean, it does exist, but it doesn't exist like in our real world right now, like something we
Yes.
can't perceive or something along those lines.
And Nick's character Nathan does say that he's like he's trying to describe the color. He's like I've never seen that color before.
But it's weird because so does purple and pink just not exist in this world? Like,
I mean, I think the problem is like how do you show that? You
right.
know,
I mean, that's the whole problem with the movie. Like, you're making a movie based on something that you can't show.
yeah. I mean, I was okay with it. I mean, maybe I'm not the right person to respond to that since I'm colorblind. So I don't know that I would have been
It
able to
seemed
see it
like the
anyway.
color was very easy to describe for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, this is all happening simultaneously. And funny enough, like all the kids and everything seem to notice it, but like Nick and his wife don't notice it until the meteorite hits the ground. Like the colors are like changing all around them and everything else, and they are fully into this bone mode. They are at Pound Town or getting close to Pound Town and fully engaged
Well,
and
because it
fully
seems,
engorged.
God, it seems like the kids like end up locked up, like they're like frozen by it. Like even the older Benny, the older brother, he's like drooling at his desk. So it's almost like they're in a trance of some kind. Versus the parents are like you said, like they're still like going at it. They haven't even noticed. So like that's interesting.
Yeah, and inconsistent. Um,
I mean, maybe it's a hearing thing because there's this sound, this whistling throughout the movie that I'm sure I'm going to be hearing in my sleep for days. But maybe they couldn't hear that because they're older,
maybe,
right? It had to get more intense before the because your hearing obviously gets worse as you get older, and so maybe that was supposed maybe that's on purpose.
maybe. But yeah, so this thing hits the ground and they all run outside and it's like hot and smoking and Nick is complaining about the smell, but
Yeah,
nobody else complains about and nobody else smells whatever he's talking about.
and that goes
So
through the rest of the movie.
but it never pays off really. Like what is he smelling?
So this goes into the cancer scene. So this is much later in the movie, but there he kind of
Oh, yeah, I got it. With his dad?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I got it. That makes more sense. I didn't pick up on that during the movie. But yeah, he's
it's all good,
complaining about the smell and nobody else smells it.
right?
Um, but they are all fascinated by it and call people to come out and look at it. Um,
It's a very stereotypical meteorite hit. It looks like it does in every classic sci-fi film, like the Blob remake and things like that. Like, so it didn't do a ton of destruction. It's very localized and it's not so hot that they can't be near it. But it's
right.
pretty.
Yeah, and so it starts raining and like lightning is striking the meteor. It's like drawing all the lightning in.
Well, so that's the next night.
Is it? Because
Yeah,
the meteor disappears before the people get there.
before the news crew does, but Wade and the sheriff do see it.
That's right. Wade shows up, the guy that's the hygrometer, hydrometer, or whatever. Hydrologist.
Hydrologist. Sorry, Wade.
The water scientist.
That's right.
And for some reason they call him over to look at it. Like if you're a scientist of any kind, come look at this, and you're gonna know everything about
I
it.
mean, look, if everybody there, he probably is the most qualified, you know?
Probably, but I mean, when you're a scientist, there you have generally have a specialty. Like he's
Sure.
not probably going to be very familiar with astronomy and things like that. Uh, and I would think a meteorite would fall into that or geology. Although geology is probably closer to hydrology than it is like biology. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's overlap. He knows about the minerals and things like that. Um,
But
but so
it is funny because he's like touching all the soil around it, no problem. Like I would think a real scientist would be like, we need to get like a hazmat suit, like a radiation suit, before we're getting close to this. But he's like, nah, I'll just pick up all these rocks and soil around it, no problem. And
no
like
one seems that concerned.
no, like the older brother is like pulling pieces off the meteor and just like holding them, and it's just, okay,
Now, this scene, so Wade clearly kind of likes the daughter. How do you say her name? Lavinia.
yeah.
Lavinia. He clearly likes her, and she's at least somewhat interested in him. Like she said that he's cute to
But
Benny.
she seems like she's way younger than him. Did you get that vibe?
So that's exactly what I want to talk about. How old are Lavinia and Benny supposed to be?
They still live with at home with their parents, so I assume that they're fairly young. They're not shown to have any jobs or anything like that. I mean, Lavinia, I would assume was in high school.
So that's the thing. Like, so in real life, she was 20, 21 when the movie she was 21 when the movie came out, so 20-ish when they were filming it, right? Fine. But like to your point, they don't seem to have jobs. They don't seem to necessarily be going to school, but we don't really know exactly when this is taking place, like what time of year or anything like that. There's no snow, so maybe it's summertime. Um, but she's got to be a teenager.
Well, also her behavior is just kind of like an obnoxious teenager a
I mean
lot of the movie.
that's fair. So if Benny is also on the younger side and he doesn't seem to have a job, we never see him drive or anything like
If
that.
they
So if
only have
he
one car in the family.
yeah, but if he's 18, 19, then she can't be more than like 17.
And to
Whereas
be fair, there
Wade,
isn't really like they don't do anything. Like,
no, but Wade is a scientist, which means
yeah,
he has a college degree. So he's got to be 22 or older.
yeah,
And, at no point, so Nathan, the dad, doesn't really like that he's into her, right? He has her go inside, and things like that. And it's like, well, the way he dismisses her feels more sexist than protective. Because he easily could have gone the way to be like, she's 16, right? Or something like that. And that would have been the end of it. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And then he's protecting his daughter. Instead, he's like sending her off, like, let the men deal with the rock, honey, type of mentality. So it's like, I don't understand Wade,
It's
Ward, not
weird.
Wade, Ward. Yeah, is Ward not? He has no idea how old this girl is, and Nathan's not going to tell him, so nobody really cares. But she's clearly a minor.
Yeah. Well, then, so yeah, he dismisses her, and then he like tells Ward to come with him, and he goes to go milk the alpacas, which is apparently a normal thing they do. And for some reason, Ward just goes with him.
At some point, what is Ward doing here in this movie?
Honestly, Ward, you could remove Ward from the story for basically like the only thing he serves is the end, the very end. His so I thought there was going to be a different twist that we'll get into later,
Mm.
but
Well,
like,
he serves a.
that would have made him a bigger point.
I mean, that's fair. He is holding true to parts of the story that this is based off of,
Well, that sure, but that doesn't
but
mean it's
yeah,
necessarily translates.
no, no, no. Yeah, I think
Like
that's fair.
I get trying to be true to the story that it's based off of, but like if something doesn't work in a book and you're making a movie out of like if it works in the book but you can't make it work in the movie, maybe it shouldn't be there or you should do something else in its place.
Yeah,
And Ward was just like he was just like, a butthole on your elbow.
he
Like
he just seemed way too dedicated to be a hydrologist. Like maybe this is just how these guys are. These scientists are. I don't know. But at some point, I think I'd leave.
yeah, I mean, I have a brother that's a scientist that does a lot of field work and things like that. I think if
Sure,
some of the things in this movie were happening around him or near him, he would not be there anymore because
right?
it's so outrageous that no normal human would be like, I'm going to stay there for this.
Well, and some of it just seems kind of dangerous. Like, yeah, we find out that Ezra is harmless, right? But Ward doesn't know that,
Right.
right?
Well, and
He just,
also like that scene at his little like camp where his car just starts and
yeah,
like, like
uh-huh.
that's not normal.
And at no point until he, much much later in the movie when he takes the sheriff's, Ward doesn't have his own gun.
Yeah.
He has a flashlight. Okay, cool. But like there's clearly stuff going on. There's like creatures or whatever. He's seeing, things that are not normal, and he's just like, nah, I'm gonna stay.
Right.
Like
Um
it is a
yeah,
pet peeve of mine when people in movies have clearly never seen movies.
so Ward goes with him to go for the milking for some reason, and then he's like, "Is there anybody else on this property?" He's like, "Well, we got the squatter," which they're apparently fine with this guy that squats on this house that they're living at was apparently his father's house, Nathan's father's house,
Right.
and so they're all living there now. And the squatter they just kind of inherited from the father.
I guess.
It seems like he's been there forever. So yeah, they go to meet him, and it's Tommy Chong, it's Ezra, and he's like this really kind of hippie uh guy that's like in connection with the world and just kind of living off the land, except that he has a bunch of cameras and he's really smart to like reroute power to
Yeah, he
his
seems to
cabin or
be
something.
extremely intelligent and very
Yeah,
resourceful.
but he named his cat G Spot
Yeah.
because it's like a pussy joke.
Yep. Hilarious.
Which yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. I mean, I'm sure it's another one of those things that was in the book, but it's like okay,
Maybe, yeah, I don't know
it just
about that
doesn't
one, but
it doesn't play super well in the movie.
like that's
Um,
the thing. Like Ezra, like everyone knows he's there. Even the sheriff knows he's there, but everyone's just cool with him. He's just this cool guy who just lives on this land.
Yeah, and it's the son. It's Benny that
Yeah,
takes Ward to go meet this guy. And he offers him some coffee. And like the coffee clearly has like tainted water in it. It looks gross. And he's not drinking it, but Benny is just chugging it.
so yeah, I think he's calling it Java because of what it looks like. I don't think it's actually coffee. I think it's just the water,
Okay. So
which is concerning.
I think I'm just gonna go into my what my theory was gonna be at
Okay.
this point, which was so the movie seemed to set up that um it was potential that these were all everything that was happening was hallucinations from people that were clearly lead poison
Mm.
or affected by the chemicals in this water in some way. Thought they were all seeing things, and that when Ward came back at the end, none of this stuff was going to was going to really have happened. We're just going to see a bunch of dead bodies everywhere and like injured people. For me, I think that that would have made this a more interesting movie if that was the twist at the end. We're all seeing like this group hallucination from these people that are drinking this water. Because outside of that, why does having a hydrologist make any sense for the movie? The fact that he's a hydrologist means nothing to the movie.
I mean, basically,
The fact that the water
yeah,
is bad has nothing to do with anything in the movie. But we
no.
see the scenes of these guys like slurping down this dirty water throughout
Hmm.
the movie. So I thought that was what was going to be happening.
Yeah,
And
I think that's totally fair.
it
Because the
didn't.
idea is the
Spoiler
reason
alert.
he's there is that they're going to build a reservoir that's going to flood that whole area,
Yeah.
right? So he's testing the water table and stuff like that. That's why he's there. Now, is that a strong reason that works for the whole movie? No. I think your idea is really interesting and really cool. I think it just that goes against what an H.P. Lovecraft story would be,
Right. Like
right?
that would be outside of the fact that it's H.P. Lovecraft. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could still have had all this weird shit and like they're still seeing weird shit like Lovecraftian monsters and everything, but that it was a hallucination. I mean, I don't think that that's that crazy you know, take on his story, but I think that would have been a more interesting way to do it. I'm sure the Lovecraft fans out there are gonna hate me for saying that, and I'm sorry if I've offended you. This is as somebody I think Lovecraft stuff is cool, and I've played Call of Cthulhu, but that's about as much of Lovecraft as I've been into. So this is just somebody that has never read the short story and is watching this movie as the only experience.
Well, so I'm glad you brought up Call of Cthulhu because one of the key mechanics in those types of Lovecraftian games is the concept of sanity. Right. And the idea is that, yeah, I mean, you might be fighting other people and creatures and there's mortal danger there, but the real danger is your sanity being lost.
Yeah,
Right. And you go crazy. So Mansions of Madness is another board game that you could play where sanity is a big piece of it. Right. And I think one of the big problems with this movie is that we don't get the time to watch the people actually descend into madness gradually.
right. It's pretty instant.
This is like a few days. This is like a week maybe that this all takes place. And it goes from like these people are kind of weird to they're all completely insane very, very fast.
Yeah,
And there isn't that, like, I think if we had gotten some better backstories, we could have tied in their loss of sanity a little bit better. Like, for example, Jack is, he's seeing things that he thinks are his friends and he's talking to his friends, right? Well, if we had begun the movie and given him a sense of being lonely and not having any friends, maybe he left his friends behind when they moved to the farm or something, that could be a traumatic aspect of his personality that wanes as the movie progresses, right? Same with the cancer scare and what does it mean to have cancer and what's happening when your body has cancer could have led to what ends up happening to the mom later. But we don't really get to do any of that. There's no nuance there. We
right.
just jump straight into it, and I think that's what, for me anyway, makes these types of stories really cool is that descent. Like, look at John Carpenter's The Thing for a minute. One of the coolest things about that movie is that we are still talking about the end of that movie,
Yeah,
right? Decades, 40 years later, we are still wondering who's the bad guy at the end of that movie. And we don't know. We will probably never have that definitive real answer. And that's why it stands the test of time is the paranoia that these characters go through. This skips all of that.
yeah. I think you could have done something similar to that if they had gone the way I was talking about. If they had like at the end, like whenever Ward comes back and sees that his family has all massacred themselves and their dogs and their alpacas and whatever else. If like at the very end you find out that like it was a monster or something that's poisoning the water supply, and like those mantis things that they show were real, and
Hmm.
that was what was causing the water to be poisoned and causing this family to go crazy. And you could still have had that be like, was it real? Wasn't it real? Like, what
Hmm.
was the hydrologist a little bit poisoned too? And so that's why we see the pink mantis at the end jump in front of him or whatever. You could have done something like that and where people would still be discussing it. But yeah, this movie didn't quite hit those marks.
Yep.
So yeah, this is the point where like that day goes by and then the it starts getting like really rainy and the lightning starts striking the meteor. And it's not striking anywhere else on the property. It's only striking the meteorite, like it's drawing to it. Um, which is weird, but again, there's not really any payoff for it except that the meteor is gone the next morning.
Which again is not like super well explained. Like,
Like,
so
is the
it's
lightning powering up the stuff inside the meteor? Because nothing really, it goes like there's one flower before that, but then all of a sudden after the lightning strikes, now there's flowers are starting to go crazy and like all this stuff starts happening. Maybe, but it's not really explained. It's just a weird thing
yeah.
that happened.
Well, I mean, in order to draw that, like, is it made of metal? Where is the metal just vanished? It didn't just like melt down. It's
Was it an
gone.
organic material that's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. We go to Ward, who apparently has a full ass camp here. Like he's got like a military style like tents type
Hmm.
deal, and he's got an FJ40 Land Cruiser,
Yeah.
which for my car people out there, it's a fucking sick
It's
car,
very
man.
cool. It's very
Yeah,
cool.
it's awesome to see this. And it did seem like they kind of blacked out the Toyota emblem a little bit, so that like I don't know if they wanted it to be a Jeep and they got a Toyota instead, but yeah, it's a super cool car, and I don't know how, as a hydrologist, this guy could afford that car because those things are very expensive. And if you had one, you're probably not going to be bringing it out on field surveys like this, as
I don't think
capable
it's
as it is.
his. I think it's a company
You think the
car.
company is just like leasing FJ40 Land Cruisers?
Well, I mean, this is supposed to take place like up in Maine, right? In like a
Right,
really
but this is like
secluded.
very rare, like very expensive. They could get almost anything that would do the same job.
I mean, that's fair. That's a good point.
It's just that would be an amazing company. I would want to go work for that company.
That's fair. I guess I didn't really think about it to that level, but
Oh, I
um,
did. When I see a car in a movie that stands out, I'm like, why did they pick this car? And I mean,
yeah.
obviously, because it's the coolest car a field scientist could drive, basically. You know, a field scientist isn't going to drive like a Trans Am with the like fire chicken on the hood. Because that doesn't make any sense in a field scenario. But an FJ40 Land Cruiser is going to make sense, a
It was pretty neat.
1970 whatever Land Cruiser. Anyway, yeah, so we get this whole scene with like him in the dark and there's like noises, and so he's turning on his flashlight and you can see what almost looks like a magnetic field. If it's hard to describe, but like in the
Mhm.
like in the air in front of him, it's like kind of colorful,
It's
as
a
if
little bit like if like the predator was walking through the forest in a way.
kind of, yeah. It's just you can kind of tell there's something weird going on that's a little unnatural. And then his car just starts, and like he goes to shut it off, and then it shuts off. But he's totally cool. He's just gonna sleep the rest of the night there, no problem.
I'll tell you what, if I'm ever in a situation where a car of any vehicle just turns itself off on in the middle of the night in pitch dark, if I'm walking up to it, I am not walking up to it directly in
In front
front
of
of the
it. Yeah,
vehicle.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that was not like the smartest thing. For a scientist, he lacks some basic common sense, but
Some
um
self-preservation.
yeah. So we cut to the next morning and yeah, now the news crew and the mayor or something has shown up and the meteor's gone.
So here's another example of I think the movie just goes too fast on some things. There's clearly history between Nathan and the mayor. She hates him.
Yeah.
And there's like a throwaway line about how like he should have sold the farm to her when he had the chance. So does that mean they used eminent domain to kick him out? He still gets paid for that, or like are they just gonna flood them out with the reservoir? Like there's a lot of like subtext that's glossed over in this that if they had just
Right.
put 10 more minutes into this movie, 15 more
Yeah, but
minutes in
then it
this
would have
movie.
been 2 hours and 5 minutes. This movie was already long.
Do you think it
It,
was if I,
it
but
was an hour and 50 minutes long, I'm pretty sure.
it was, but I just still feel like it was really rushed.
But I don't think that 15 minutes would have saved it, to be honest.
I
Maybe it
mean,
would have.
maybe
I don't
not.
know.
Maybe not.
It would have given more context, to be sure, but I'm not sure that it would have made it a better movie. Um, Yeah, so the meteor's gone, but Nathan is still smelling things, and like there's been some weird stuff going on. Um, they're preparing dinner, and the mom is chopping carrots and just chops her fingers off.
Yeah, well, there's also the scene where he's watching himself on the news. Did you write that? That happens
I
before
didn't
the
write
dinner.
that down. No.
Yeah, well, because like they're making him out to be like a one of those like UFO lunatics who
Oh yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and he's watching himself. He's like, nobody could just give me a comb. Like he's like so critical of how he
Yeah,
looks
and
and
like they
everything.
keep describing him as like the UFO spotter or something like that, but he's like, I never said I saw the UFO, and so he's frustrated with it.
Well, like the sheriff saw this. The sheriff was there the day before and touched the meteorite with a stick, and all of a sudden it's like this thing never existed. The
Yeah.
mayor saw it.
Also, we should mention that like Jack, so while all those kids went into that trance, they snapped out of it pretty quick after the meteor hit, but Jack was like kind of stuck in this trance mode
Yeah, that's a good point.
for a while longer. Like it seemed to affect him. And then like while they're all sitting, he just wakes up and is kind of unaware of what happened.
Yeah. And
But yeah,
there's a line in there from Teresa, the wife, to Nathan about him drinking.
yeah, where it's
So
implied he has some alcohol problems and things like that. But again, we get no context.
we get no context, and by the time we see it in the movie, everyone is so far gone at that point. It's hard to know if that was a pre-existing issue.
Right. So the mom chops off her fingers while she's chopping up a carrot, and like her, I think it's two fingers.
Yeah,
And
that scene
so
takes too long.
it does. Yeah, it kept going, cutting between the carrots and cutting with like, and you knew something was going to happen, and it definitely seemed like she was going to chop her fingers off. So it wasn't a big surprise when it happened, but she doesn't react at all.
No.
Jack is going in to get like a glass of water or something, and he sees it happen, and he reacts.
Yeah. So mommy hurt herself,
Yeah, and so Nick goes in and gets her, and they're going to go to the hospital.
which is an
So
hour away.
he leaves Benny in charge.
Again,
Um,
like so again, it comes off a little sexist, right? Like we were talking about earlier, like, oh, Benny, you're the man of the house. It's like,
yeah,
what? Like, does it really matter? Like, it's just them and Jack. Like, they just have to make sure their little brother is safe, you know?
right. And so they leave, and like weird things start happening. Jack is like just sitting out on the lawn staring at the well, and he keeps saying he's like talking to his friends.
Hmm.
And like the parents try and call once they get to the hospital, but like cell phones aren't working, and it sounds like almost like a devilish type like demonic voice
Hmm.
on the cell phones. On the for the people that are at the farm, but for the people
Yeah.
that are not at the farm, they don't like it. Just sounds like there's no connection, I think. Um, but then I think I don't know if they see it at this point or if it's just shown to the audience. But then we see like this purple praying mantis type creature coming out of the well that has like tentacles almost coming out of it.
Jack sees it.
So have you ever seen the videos of like I mean maybe my algorithm is weird, but there's videos out there of like the praying mantis is being like dunked in water, and then you see like this parasite come out the backside of the praying mantis because
No,
it's drowning, and like
I've
it's no, it's a real thing. Yeah, it's a weird video.
weird.
But like it just looks like a worm that's like the praying mantis is pooping, but it's but it's a living creature that's just like coming out of the mantis. It's kind of like that. It has like these tentacles coming out of it, almost as if it's possessed, but yeah, it's like this weird pinkish purplish. It's a praying mantis that's like the same color as the, you know,
All
whole
the lights and
yeah, all the
stuff.
lights and stuff that permeate this movie. But yeah, it has like these weird tentacle things coming off of it. Um, let's see.
And at this point, like the daughter, Lavinia, she starts like feeling like ill, like stomach is like she's very nauseous, and that kind of keeps coming back and forth. It's like whenever this
Yeah,
whistling sound is happening, right, that everyone starts to get affected. And so like Benny is losing time, like chunks of time. He's supposed to be taking care of the alpacas like you do. And she's like doing the dishes, but then the sink is like overflowing.
with like blood water, even though there's only a tiny bit of blood.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so she's like trying to wash the knife that her mom cut her fingers off with, and she starts getting sick. right around this moment, and yeah, so the sink starts overflowing. But then, like, her dad calls and she answers the phone, so she's cognizant enough to do that, but not cognizant enough to turn off the sink. Um, and then she goes to like puke, but then Ward shows up and talks about how their water is contaminated, so don't drink it. And then he goes to go meet Ezra. Well, he sees the kid at the well. Like, he sees Jack at the well and talks to him. And then he goes to Ezra, and Ezra is talking about the people talking under the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like
And
listening underground.
he's like recording it with some like ancient recorder.
Yeah, it's an old like old tape deck type thing.
And so the parents have tried to call 2 or 3 times and nothing's gotten through. But they're coming home at this point. The mom is good, like she got her hand wrapped up or whatever. And as they're coming home, they see like this cat creature in the road that looks like it's been kind of turned inside out, similar to like the thing type creature.
Yeah. And
Um,
again, like we don't see the cat like slowly decay. It was a perfectly fine, fluffy, like almost Maine
it's
Coon looking
implied that this
cat.
is like G Spot, the cat
Yeah.
that Ezra had. Yeah,
And now it's like from The Thing or Resident Evil or
inside
something,
out. Yeah,
you know.
yeah, and they almost wreck the car because they're trying to avoid it, but then they're not like, we should go look at what that is. They just keep going. Um, okay, so we start getting like our first hints of kind of up to this point, Nick has been like pretty normal. Like normal relatively. He
Yeah,
hasn't
yeah.
been like being very cagey or anything.
Right.
But when he gets back to the farm, he immediately transitions to this different voice.
Hmm. Yeah,
But that is very similar to like how he's described his dad. Well, he did an impression of his dad earlier
right. And
when he
it's
was
his
talking to his wife. It's the same kind of voice he did when he did the impression.
yeah, which I think is like a Rhode Island kind of thing.
Yeah. And he's done that. I can't remember what when he started doing the voice. I was like, he's done that voice in another movie, but I couldn't remember what I can't remember
Oh,
now what movie it was.
I'll have to think about that.
But yeah, he's like very mean to his kids because they're like something weird is going on, and he's just being incredibly like rude and
Well,
mean to
because
him.
Jack was outside by himself. It's late. It's nighttime. Supposedly it's late, and Lavinia and Benny are looking for Jack, right? And so that's why the parents are like initially pissed, but then the alpacas are out because Benny was supposed to take care of them, and he swears that he did. But like nobody's listening. Like that's one of the big problems. This is another trope in movies I don't really care for when all of the adults are going to completely ignore anybody who is not an adult, no matter what is going on. And that always drives me absolutely insane.
Yeah.
They've been gone for a day, right? Because they left at dark the day before. They've missed an entire day, and they're not going to listen to a single thing that their teenage kids are saying.
And also somehow they're going crazy as quickly as the kids are. Like even though they were gone for a day.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's a little unclear. Like, were they all like irradiated when the meteorite hit, and so it doesn't matter where they go. It's just
Yeah,
they've
I don't
already
know.
been impacted.
But you would think constant exposure to whatever it is would be a factor, but I guess not.
I don't
Um,
know.
so we kind of noticed that Nick is kind of going in and out of this like voice.
Yeah.
Um, and he realizes he seems to kind of realize that it's happening because he seems very like confused when he comes out of this voice like thing. But he goes to take a shower,
Mhm.
and while he's in the shower, like there's like a gel that's like coated the drain, and so he picks it up and it turns into like a jellyfish with a bunch of like weird tentacle things, and he throws it on the ground and says that they need to get a plumber.
I think it stings him.
Yeah, something like that. Well, if it does, I mean, there's no repercussions of that. He's been scratching his arms ever since he got close to the meteor at this point, and somewhere in here we see that his arms are like raw, like, well, not really raw. It's hard to describe. It looks almost like leather. Like
Yeah,
if
they're
you
like
see somebody that's like hyper tan for like their whole life, and it's like all crinkled, almost like a football,
but
like
it's
type.
just his arms.
Yeah. Well, it gets up on his neck
A
later.
little bit, yeah, I guess, yeah, but like his face is fine. His hands seem mostly okay. But yeah, Ray caught it really early. She caught like these rashes on his arms. I didn't notice it till much later, but around this
Well,
time.
he's constantly scratching him, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's implied that something's going on. But we get this weird scene of him going outside and like picking a bunch of tomatoes or fruit of some kind.
Well, so that's another piece. It's like he's a gardener, I guess, now too. So like maybe they
But
grow
that's
all their
never
own
been
food,
shown.
right? And but it all like but it's like a lot of food. It's like he's got a bunch of tomatoes and there was something else in there that he
And it
got
seems
too.
like they're blooming like they're fruiting very quickly
Yeah, he
because
says something like
and
a
they're
week early,
huge.
I think he says,
Yeah,
or
and they're
something like that.
big. They're like fully engorged fruit. They are like large and in charge.
Hmm.
And so he picks all these and comes in with the basket and starts like taking bites. Like his wife comes in and says something to him, and he starts like taking bites, a
Hmm.
single bite out of each one, and then they're disgusting. So he slam dunks them into the trash.
Yeah.
And like there's this big blowout scene with his wife.
So then the question is, do they taste like? Is there something wrong with the fruit, or
Does
is
the
there
fruit
something
even
wrong?
exist? Like that whole thing seems like a weird hallucination because we never see these fruit plants ever again in the movie. They're never referenced.
I
Like
think they exist because of she with her being in the scene too. Like it would have to be like a shared
this whole thing is like a
hallucination,
shared. I
but
don't know. I feel
but
like a lot of this is
yeah, I do wonder though, like like are his taste buds messed up,
maybe because his sense
right?
of
Like
smell is bad.
right, like I don't know.
So we go to the daughter who has made of some sort of ritual circle and is staging herself,
Yeah,
and she's
yeah.
carving runes into her body.
So like I don't know what I would classify as like a scary movie kind of thing for me. I don't really get scared by movies. I don't like watching that stuff.
I don't think that's scary. It's more just like uncomfortable and gross,
Yeah,
and
I
that's the
don't
way
like
it's
watching
meant.
that.
But
Yeah.
my girlfriend doesn't like that either, and I get it. It's not like it's super pleasant for me to watch, but yeah, I don't think
That
that
was a test, Ryan.
I think that goes more into the lines of like gore porn, like Saw
Yeah,
type stuff. Like,
I don't like that
yeah, uh,
personally.
no, it's fine. Like they're telling a story with it, but I'm not like super in love with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. She's like carving into her like she carves one into her forehead, and then she's like carving into her chest,
Her hands,
her
like it's yeah.
hands. Yeah, um, yeah. So the creepy alpaca lightning strike is my next
Creepy
note.
alpaca
I
lightning
think this is
strike.
like when the kid, like Benny, goes to like check on the alpaca or something, and they can hear like a bunch of weird noises in there or something.
Yeah, like the alpacas do start like acting really weird at one point, and the dog Sam has been missing at this point for a while, for a day or so, as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and
but
I think Benny hears something in the barn and like he goes to check it out, but then he like screams and goes to get his parents,
mhm.
and Jack goes out to the
Oh,
barn, and then the
yes,
mom goes out to the barn to get Jack, and there's the lightning strike on like coming out of the barn. It's not really lightning, it looks like lightning, but something comes
right.
out of the barn and like strikes the mom and Jack.
Had Ezra blown up yet at this point? I'm trying to remember what order these happened in.
I don't think Ezra
That
has
was later. Okay.
yeah, I think that's
So we don't know yet where that lightning came from. I think now we know that it was the alpacas like exploding essentially. And so yeah, if this part gets kind of dark. It fuses Teresa and Jack together.
yeah, he almost like becomes the tumor
It's
on
pretty
her.
pretty gross. It looks okay. They did a pretty good job. Yeah, I think it's a good example of why like I still prefer practical effects as much as possible.
And it's kind of it's super uncomfortable because they're both just like making these terrible pained noises through like the
Yeah.
next like 20 minutes. Um but yeah, they're kind of he's kind of like stuck in her back, and really he's almost basically gone, and you just kind of see his face
He
sticking out.
slowly is going away, you
Yeah,
know.
he's like being absorbed.
Hmm.
Um
And they choose not to take them to the hospital, which was interesting. So losing two fingers, that's a hospital trip. Being fused together, not a hospital trip.
right. And yeah, so this my next note was this is all a contaminated
Oh no,
water
wait. Uh,
trip.
the car didn't work. Never mind. I'm sorry. He did
Yeah,
try.
he
Car
tried to
didn't
go,
start.
but yeah, the car wouldn't start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
have
all
anything
contaminated
about
water.
Ward with I don't have anything about Ward with Ezra. So that happens somewhere in here too. They go
Yeah.
to go check on Ezra. Oh, I think Ward has basically, come back around to tell everybody that this water is contaminated, and he goes to check on Ezra. And no, because isn't that when they go with the cop? They find Ezra like that.
Oh, you're right. You're
So
right. It is
that's
with the
later.
sheriff. Yeah. Good call.
Um,
Yep.
so yeah, my next note is shotgun time because Nick goes and grabs. He apparently has had guns this whole time, and he goes and grabs a gun
Well,
and
because they
loads it.
bring Teresa and Jack fused together to the attic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he like
And
can't stand listening. He's like going crazy, more crazy listening to him, and he's gone in and out of that dad voice a couple times.
he says he's gonna
Um,
handle it.
he's gonna handle it, so he goes down to the barn and opens up the door to the alpacas, and this is kind of our first time seeing them. And it's very much like the dog in the
Hmm.
thing where there's like they're turned inside out. There's like multiple heads of the
Right.
alpacas all fused together. Very John Carpenter. But he just starts blasting all the heads
Like you do.
like you do. So let me ask you a question at this point. Was the alpaca like the source of all this originally, do you think? Like this is that alpaca creature? Do you think that because the lightning kind of came from that alpaca creature, do you think that was like the main manifestation of whatever this meteor was?
I think that was the beginning of it. Yeah, I think that's where it really took hold because it's the most mutated, and then later, it mutated, brings in the cat and some other things. And I think we're supposed to believe that Sam the dog is part of it too. I don't think they outright say that, but I think that's the
No, he's
implication.
in the well.
I don't think that's true.
Um, so yeah, the Nick goes and shoots all those alpacas, and he goes back up to the attic where he's now covered in blood, and he's basically ready to like he tells the kids to leave because he's got to go or he's going to take care of this, and they are like they know instantly what he's talking about, that he's going to you know put her out of her misery.
Hmm.
And so they say goodbye, and he like walks over and goes to kiss her goodbye, and I'm sure you love this scene with like the melty
It's
lip.
so gross.
Yeah, he like kisses her and like the lips are like melting, and it's like gross
Oh.
little melted lip saliva.
And he keeps
Um,
kissing her and he's like flirting with her in a way. Like
and
it's
also before this, they're giving her water, but she's drinking it like a cat out of a bowl.
Yeah, it's awful. It's pretty gross. I gotta be honest. Like I'm not
But
a big.
he like keeps kissing her
I know,
a
I
bunch of times.
know. I'm not big on body horror. I'll say that. But yeah,
Yeah. So the he decides not to kill her.
right.
And so he leaves. He's like, I'm gonna fix this. And we go to the scene with the sheriff now and Ward, where the sheriff is like, Ward, have you ever seen something like this? And pulls him over to the truck, and he opens the back of the truck of the tarp, and it's like a bunch of dead animals all fused together,
Yeah, which
like the
is the
alpaca.
alpacas, and he sees Ward notices like the collar from the cat.
And again, like this is not a biologist of any kind. This is not a like just because you're a scientist doesn't mean you're an expert in everything.
And he says it looks like
Like,
radiation burns, I think is what he
right,
says.
like how does he know what the fuck radiation burns look like? He's not a doctor.
I don't know. I mean, he would have had to have taken a lot of science classes. I don't know what type of degree he has. Maybe he does know this stuff. I don't know.
I think it's kind of a crazy assumption by the people that wrote this movie that scientists have full knowledge of every scientific practice. Like if you're a hydrologist, you also are an expert on radiation affecting the human body and animal bodies, apparently. And like, it's I don't know, the whole thing is kind of crazy to me. But yeah, so he shows him that, and he's like, we got to go back to this farm. There's some crazy shit going on there. And so he brings the sheriff back to the farm, but we cut back to Sam. Oh, not Sam. Benny and Lavinia like wandering around the farm together after the dad, well, dad is up there trying to take care of the mom or whatever. And Benny claims he hears Sam in the well.
Hmm.
And they look down in the well and it's just like glowing purple lava, basically. But he says he can hear Sam screaming. What's funny is like Sam seems or Benny seems the least crazy of all these people. Like he seems like he's stressed out, but for the most part, he's handling it.
It's all the pot.
Yeah, and maybe that's what the implication is. But at this point, this is where like he is crazy because he's like, I'm just gonna grab the dog and get out, but the dog isn't there.
No, there's nothing there, clearly.
He claims he sees the dog, but then he just like falls into the
Well,
you
no,
know
he starts climbing down, and then the water, whatever, explodes up,
up and like takes him into it or
and
whatever.
yeah, and so he dies.
Yeah, allegedly, we don't know. So then Lavinia like and runs into the house, and Nick is in his dad voice and tells her that they're a family and they have to take care of each other and blah blah blah. And he like it takes her up to the stairs and pushes her into the attic where the mom is at and says that she needs to feed her mom.
And then he locks her in.
Locks her in, and yeah, so like we see at this point, like the mom is in the dark, so we don't really see what she looks like. But then Benny, or not Benny, we see Ward get back with the sheriff to the house around this time, I think, and he confronts Nick, but then they hear Lavinia screaming in the attic.
Well,
So
so
they,
Nick is like clearly kind of gone nuts because he keeps talking about like his family. They're all right here. We're all right here, and like the room's empty.
right.
Right. So he's totally lost it at this point. Um, and what's happening in the attic is another example of I think just time is moving. Things are happening too fast in this movie. Like in the span of a few hours, the mom and Jack go from being like fused together to her being like a brand new hyper mobile creature,
Yeah.
right? With like those kind of like broken out arms and like it's again very thing like. Which I do have questions now about like where the designs in John Carpenter's The Thing inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. I never thought about it until seeing this, but maybe that's I don't know who inspired who here,
Right.
but she transforms so quickly and is like now she's like a fearsome creature.
Yeah. And so they hear her screaming and they run up there, and the mom is just like standing above the dog, like on all fours because it's now like a quadruped type creature above the daughter, just like drooling on her and not eating her for a really long amount of time. If like
Really
that's what
long
the plan
time.
was. Like if that was the plan, then this mom either seems conflicted or it's just like a plot device. But by the time Ward gets up there, they kill the mom and
Yeah,
save Lavinia.
and she gets blood all over her face and
Yeah.
everything.
I called it a mother spider creature because it's very kind of like reminiscent of a
Yeah,
spider.
I think that's fair.
Um, so then they come downstairs, uh, and Nick starts like going crazy. They're gonna go check on the well. I think Jack is outside still, and they're like going to go get Jack or whatever, and the well is like making noises. And so Nick is coming up behind him, and he's like gonna shoot one of them.
He's gonna shoot Ward, and the sheriff is trying to warn him.
Yeah, and then he shoots Nick,
Right.
and so yeah, Nick dies. But does he? Yeah, I mean, yeah, so that's a check mark on our bingo card. Nick dies by the end.
Hmm.
They go so Ezra or the sheriff and Ward go to check on Ezra, and Ezra is like they just hear like these terrible demonic noises that sound kind of like Ezra,
Hmm.
playing off of the machine that he was recording with earlier, and he's just like a carcass. There's like all his eyes are gone and like all his skin is sunken in, like he's been dead for a while. But this tape thing is still playing
Right.
throughout this whole time.
He thought well enough ahead to record that and have it play at exactly the right moment.
Right. So I think it's meant to imply that this is what he was hearing under the floorboards.
Maybe.
But yeah, they're walking back to the house, I think, or to Ward's camp, one of the two, and the sheriff, this is kind of like the worst
This makes no sense. Yeah.
It was, yeah, like they're just walking and the sheriff just gets grabbed by a tree
Yep.
and like stabbed in the face or whatever,
Yeah, the
and
tree kills him.
that's it.
It's the
It's the least.
worst. It's the worst CGI in the movie.
It's also just like the least creative
Yeah,
thing.
I just it was just the way they're like, okay, we gotta get rid of this guy so Ward can have the gun. Like that was basically what happened.
Right.
But they could have just had the sheriff get caught in the explosion with Ezra. That would have at least been more fitting, I think.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah, so Ward gets back to the house and he sees Nick and all of the family alive sitting in the living room.
Well, not quite. So like things are starting to like fall apart, right? Like the idea is like things are getting sucked up into like this black hole. Black holes have been mentioned a couple of different times because Lavinia had stayed behind um, with her dead dad at this point, and so he's like space and time are being like torn apart in this, and he's trying to like survive, and so he goes into the house because he meets her out front, and her face starts to glow like Ezra's does.
Yeah.
So he's trying to like find a place to survive the explosion, and yeah, they're all inside, which begs the question of like, well, is this an
And somehow he
alternate?
knows that it's going to be an explosion. Like, even though this is something that's like kind of unprecedented and he has no necessarily reason to think that this is going to be what happens.
Well, Ezra exploded.
Yeah, but like the scale of what happens is much different.
Oh, that no, that's much larger. No, I think he just thought she was gonna blow up like Ezra, but inside the house though, like, is this an alternate like reality? Is it a different point in time? Because they are all like right there, and they're all in their human forms.
Yeah.
Jack and Teresa are separate regular humans, and Nick's fighting Ward, so they're physical, like they're corporeal,
Yeah. But then Ward like runs into the basement,
right into the wine cellar that we
into the wine
conveniently saw
cellar.
earlier.
Yeah. And then boom.
Everything blows up for some reason.
Except the wine cellar somehow.
Don't worry about
Don't worry about it. Yeah, he's got to
it.
survive. It's apparently like a bunker, even though it's shown to just have like a single wooden trap door to get down there.
And a window. I'm pretty sure there's a window on the far
Yeah, I
side.
think so too.
Uh,
But yeah, so he comes out and now it's all just like ash. Everything is like ash around him, and
the whole house is gone. The whole farm is gone. There's like even into the tree lines. Just this huge ash explode. Like I don't know. Yeah,
yeah.
and he's alive.
And then we get the title screen saying "Color Out of Space," and there's a purple praying mantis.
Well, and then yeah, we get like a post, like an epilogue. Essentially, he's older now. The reservoir has been built, so everything's been flooded. So certainly years have passed, and he still won't drink the water.
I didn't see this part, so that's all news to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It
okay. Yeah,
started
yeah.
playing the credits. I was like, I'm not going to sit and watch all the credits. So,
Gotcha. It was only like it's like a mid-credit scene
gotcha.
kind of thing. And so yeah. So they jump ahead in the future. He's clearly been aged up. He's got like, graying hair and stuff like that. And he's standing on the top of this dam, smoking. I think he's smoking a joint. I'm not entirely sure if it's a joint or a cigarette. I didn't really pay that close attention to it. I think it was a joint. And he's like still doing the voiceover narration, like tying things up, and the whole area has been flooded. And he makes a comment about how he'll still never drink the water, and then he walks off.
Adorable.
And that's the end of the movie.
Well, the movie actually ended well before that, but that was like the epilogue. Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's the movie. So usually at this point in the podcast, we take some looks at some reviews from some users on IMDb just to kind of see if those can convince us one way or another that our opinion is wrong or right. Uh, Derek, do you think I should start with the 1-star reviews or the 10-star reviews on this one?
Let's start with the tens. I want to end on the ones today.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of like Lovecraftian fans in here. Um, let's see. Looks like the most popular review comes from MGA 65088. He has 59 thumbs up and 64 thumbs down.
Interesting.
It says only for genre fans. Richard Stanley is back with his best movie. It's an interesting mix between Lovecraft and Nicolas Cage. It gives you cosmic horror mixed with crazy and funny performance by Cage. So if you are a Lovecraft fan who doesn't like Nick Cage going crazy, this movie isn't for you. While the screenplay and the supporting cast weren't good enough, the astonishing cinematography and amazing soundtrack make this movie worth watching on the big screen. Was the soundtrack amazing in your opinion, Derek? You're a big soundtrack score type guy. I
I,
didn't
I
really
I
notice it.
I would not say it was amazing. It was fine. I thought it fit the movie fine. It wasn't like distracting or anything like that, which can happen, but it wasn't a standout.
Good to know. Okay. So, this next one is from Awful Ketchup. He says that H.P. Lovecraft would be proud. It's hard to make adaptations out of Lovecraft and his vivid portrayal of unspeakable and incomprehensible narrative. Few manages to catch only bits and pieces and manifest them into something we can understand. This movie struck a clear balance of what I would expect from an adaptation. It was a surprisingly good movie. I really enjoyed it. Nicolas Cage was made for this role. He knows how to be over the top. I can't say much more without going into spoilers. Final verdict: story 9, acting 8, sound 10, visuals 9. Yet he gave it a 10 out of 10. That doesn't average out that way, but whatever.
That's a little
This
confusing.
this is a great start of the year, and I'm slapping a 10 to this movie just because the effort to make it faithful to Lovecraft. Okay,
Gotcha.
fair
Okay.
enough. Let's do one more here. Um, Color Me Entertain. This one's from your mother's box. Finally, someone made a Lovecraft movie that's bearable. I'm not counting Stuart Gordon's 80s/90s masterpieces. Nick Cage is full on Cage mode in the best way. The story is done extremely well to the point it's easy to follow, which I believe is the issue with most Lovecraft adaptations. Most people can't translate it into a cohesive film. The FXs are great, the acting is fun, and the color, oh, the color. This is a film that even if you have no idea about Lovecraft, you'll still enjoy it. I hope this is the beginning of a good trend of decent Lovecraftian films coming out. Fingers crossed. Okay.
Okay.
Those are fair, I think. Let's see. On the 1 out of 10 side, looks like the most thumbs up and thumbs down review it has 174 thumbs up and 183 thumbs down. Is from
Interesting.
Chip 92114. I almost made it to the end. I was really looking forward to seeing this and had just finished reading the short story this movie was based on. This travesty of a film could have been so much better. I had to laugh a few times at the poorly written script and horrendous acting by everyone in the movie. There was probably 20 minutes left in the movie, but I couldn't take anymore. The writing, editing, and acting were plain awful. Nicolas Cage is a really bad actor in almost movie except Moonstruck and Raising Arizona. But I think this may be his worst.
Okay.
I mean, those are two very good movies, so I can't argue that part. This person said, Bob Evans, 1954, says 111 minutes I will never get back. Watched this last night, and it is a typical Nick Cage film supporting his gambling addiction.
Wow.
Okay. I only watched to the end as I could not find the remote. Overacting by Cage, manic laugh and direction that defied logic. Disappointed he never fixed the dish or his family not. I want to be clear that I'm pretty sure his financial woes were mostly done by the time this movie came out.
They
And
were.
that
Yeah.
wasn't really ever said to be a gambling addiction
It wasn't.
that he had an issue with. So
No.
spreading some
He
rude
he bought
things.
he bought some things that maybe were not the best purchases
Right.
in the
But
world.
it didn't necessarily have anything to do with gambling.
No.
Um, at EDLC 1970 says lame and boring. I had some expectations for this Lovecraft adaptation, but it's just boring and lame acting, boring and lame directing, boring and lame movie. Nothing happens until halfway into the movie, and what happens is the boy and the family whistling in front of a well when a colorful bug suddenly crawls up from the well. Poor CGI, by the way, and then again, nothing. A lot of talking and no action. This is no horror and no nice sci-fi. This is crap. Okay, I mean that's a little
Jesus.
rough.
Yeah. I mean, this is where like the 1-star reviews might push up my rating because of how kind of like incredibly insulting they are.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, most of the reviews are very similar to that. So,
I mean, so
except
just,
that a lot
just
of people are saying literally like worst movie ever.
yeah, I mean that type of hyperbole
It's
doesn't really
clearly
work.
not true.
Yeah. And by the way, like to be considered a sci-fi film, the bar is pretty low to be
Right.
science fiction. It's a meteor from outer space that carried aliens, even if it's just the one insect. It's sci-fi. Whether or not it's good is a separate conversation, but it's objectively a science fiction film,
Right.
you know. And as far as horror goes, it is at a minimum a body horror film,
Yeah.
you
Definitely.
know. It fits those two categories, whether you enjoyed the movie or not. Yeah, I mean, did you have more you wanted to read?
No, that's okay. I mean,
Okay.
I pretty much covered it.
So, all right. So, for people who are new, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We have our Cageometer. It's a 20-point scale because Nick has been in a lot of productions. Like we said, this is our 98th Nicolas Cage movie that we are talking about, and he has plenty more. So, we have one low, 20 high. We rank on overall quality of the film and overall caginess of Nick himself in the movie. So for me, I appreciate where some of those tens are coming from. H.P. Lovecraft stuff is difficult to adapt. I'm not sure that adapting something that is known to be difficult to adapt should let you be graded on a curve necessarily.
Right.
Because there's inherent, risks in taking on a project like that. Overall, I think the adaptation aspects of it is mostly fine. There's some bad CGI moments, like the tree, for example, but it mostly looks good. The
Yeah.
cinematography is good. The colors are interesting. So I wouldn't say the movie looks bad at all. I would say it's a good looking movie. Acting wise, I mean, I thought all the actors did fine. I thought Nick was great, especially when
Yeah.
he gets going and the third act and second half of the movie. I think he's just really running at that point. I,
Definitely plays to his strengths.
right? Like the going back and forth between kind of being almost inhabited by his father and then coming back to himself and
It
that back
kind of
and
makes
forth.
me want a Nicolas Cage movie where he could do like what like the Split movie or something like that where he
Yes,
could play like multiple characters, like a you know, yeah,
mm-hmm.
multiple personality type character. That would be awesome. I'm surprised he
100%.
hasn't done something like that. Maybe he
That is
has,
int-
and we haven't seen it yet or something.
Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think he has, but that's a
We've
really
seen
cool
other
idea.
movies where he's done two characters, but like
Right.
adaptation and some of those, but Face Off.
Hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, sorry, I
No,
didn't mean to interrupt.
no, you're good. This is good stuff. I think he'd be great in a role like that. That would be really
Yeah.
fun to see, I think. But he goes back and forth really well, and he's the stuff he's doing with his arms, he's very consistent with it as it gets worse throughout the movie. Like I thought he's great in this. It's not a perfect movie. We've discussed some of the problems that I have with it, but overall I thought it was shot well. I thought the cast was good.
Yeah.
I think those things are good. I think mostly technically it was well done. There are a few rough spots with the CGI, but mostly looked good. It's an interesting movie. I like the concept of the story a lot. I think there are parts of it that are really interesting. Like I'm a big sci-fi guy, so I like the idea of like the meteorite hitting and it impacting everybody, and like when Benny's like frozen at his computer and he's like drooling in like a trance of some kind, and that whistling is impacting everybody a little bit differently. I wish they had dug more into it, but for the most part, I liked it. It's not a masterpiece by any means, but it's certainly not one of the worst movies we've ever seen.
Right.
So as far as quality goes, I think I'm going to give it a 13.
So for me to give you my score, I need to know one thing.
Okay.
I'll have to have you look it up for me.
Sure.
What did we give Mandy? Because
Mandy.
Mandy is the closest movie to this that we've done, I think, on this podcast. And I think Mandy was better than this movie.
I agree. We gave
And more cagey.
Yes, also agree there as well. So we gave Mandy, we actually both gave it a 15 on quality.
Okay.
On caginess, it came to a 16 and a half. I gave it a 16 and you gave it a 17. Keeping in mind, of course, this was only our ninth movie. We've learned a bit since then, but that's what we gave it.
Yeah, I still think your 13 is a little high on this movie. I think 12 is where I'm at. I think it's on the high end. Like just because it's weird doesn't make it a better movie. I give it more credit because it's like of the artistic choice. It's kind of like Prisoners of the Ghostland, where like we didn't really necessarily love the plot. I like the idea of the plot in this movie more than the actual way they executed it.
Mm.
But the artistry, the cinematography, things like that, I think propel it a little higher because I probably would have put it at like a 10 or a 9. But you can tell there was intent to capture like Lovecraftian things in the visuals. So yeah, I'm at a 12 with it. So we're not that far apart. I think you're a little high, but you definitely enjoyed it more than I did, I think.
Well, and I was also kind of looking at some of the other movies, I've ranked and where I would, where I feel this fits like with those. And so it kind of fell to a 13 for that reason as well. But yeah, so then we have caginess. Caginess is always interesting. When he's the lead, it's a little bit easier to make those decisions than when he's only in part of the movie. But
He's
in this
also
one,
only cagey for like the last half of the movie.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, like he starts the movie as a fairly subdued person.
right.
You're right.
Not necessarily normal, but but yeah, like kind of a plays it as somebody that's not that eccentric.
Exactly. And so that makes this kind of difficult to rate because by the, second half of the movie, especially the third act, he's caging it up,
Bonkers. Yeah.
right? And it's great. It's why people like him doing those things.
Yeah.
But is it enough of the movie to give it a high enough score? How do you feel about the caginess on this one?
I was thinking like a 14. I mean, it's
Okay.
definitely not as cagey as Mandy, but when it gets going, it really ramps up, and he's like at max cage for the last half of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, man, I think Mandy is a better movie and cagier, and I think our score should reflect that, and I think that puts it pretty close to where it should be
Yeah.
in relation.
No, I think that makes perfect sense. I'm pretty close to that. I'm trying to dial it in here a little bit. I'm looking at some of my other scores, and I think you're right. I think a 14 is where it belongs. I'm kind of looking. It's like I gave Spirit of Vengeance a 15
Yeah,
on caginess, and it's a little more consistent throughout that one.
right.
Whereas like the Weatherman, I gave a 14. Uh, Peggy Sue Got Married, where he does that whole voice and everything, I gave a 14. So I think 14 is solid. I think that's the right spot.
Yeah,
So that gives us a 12 and a half on quality and a 14 on caginess for Color Out of Space.
sounds like where
There
it
you
should
go.
be to me.
Yeah. All right. So historically, I would have to tell you what movie joins the Wheel o' Cage, but as of last episode, the wheel is officially full.
Yeah,
There are no
all the movies
movies.
are on it.
Yeah, every movie left is on the wheel, just so you know. So there's good stuff out there on the wheel. There's a ton of movies that we have not covered yet on the show, just to kind of let you know a few of them that are out there for those who may be just joining us. Uh, Dream Scenario, the original Ghost Rider. We've got The Old Way, and we have The Carpenter's Son, which is brand new. Captain Corelli's Mandolin, which is a classic, is also on there, along with several others. So, still plenty of Nicolas Cage to talk about to learn what movie we're going to be discussing on episode 100 of the show, our 99th Nicolas Cage movie. You'll have to watch The Wheel o' Cage. You can go to comingofcage.com for all of our links. You can subscribe to the Coming of Cage podcast on your app of choice, or you can watch us on the Derrico Studios YouTube channel. Ryan, anything else for Color Out of Space?
No, we covered it pretty thoroughly.
All right. Well, looking forward to whatever comes next. We'll find out. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.